be paying attention to how energy forms can be identified when we're using various energy sources. So you're probably familiar with this statement: energy cannot be created or destroyed, it simply changes form. That's a fundamental idea of science and is related to the law of conservation of energy. Okay, so as we do this, we're going to pay attention to these energy forms: nuclear, electromagnetic, mechanical, thermal, and chemical energy. And we're going to relate those energy forms to the energy sources in a few examples. So let's start out looking at this. Our original source here is solar energy for this example, but we're going to look at how the energy exists in various forms throughout this process. So we have a plant, we have a hamburger, and we have a cyclist. Well, we're going to start with the cyclist, and we're going to kind of work backward. The cyclist is moving, so we're going to identify that as his mechanical energy, and he has power stored in his muscles, which is a potential energy. Mechanical energy is that combination of kinetic and potential energy. So it's pretty easy to see that the cyclist is an example of mechanical energy. Now the cyclist gets his energy because he had a big hamburger before he went, and the energy stored in that hamburger is stored as chemical energy. Then the chemical energy in the hamburger and the lettuce and the bun and all of that ultimately came from plants. And those plants derived their energy from the sunlight that came to them. So if we start at the beginning, we have electromagnetic energy from the sun that the plant converts to chemical energy in foods, and we ingest foods, or the cyclist ingested the food and was able to perform a mechanical task riding his bike. Let's look at the next one. Okay, here our energy source is wind, and again we're going to start at the end of this. We have turbines, we have power lines, and then we have a table saw cutting through wood. So the table saw that's cutting through wood, that's an example of mechanical energy. There's probably some thermal energy there as well. For most examples in the end product, there's thermal energy, but we're just going to pay attention to the primary one we're dealing with. So the mechanical energy of the saw, in order for that saw to have to access that energy, then clearly it comes across the power lines, and so that's an electromagnetic oscillating field that is part of what delivers that energy. And the energy source, wind, this one is due to the movement of air particles. So wind energy is actually mechanical energy that then spins the wind turbines. Okay, the next one, this is a three-stage one. We have uranium that goes into a nuclear reactor that spins the turbine in that nuclear reactor. So if we start at the end, that turbine is mechanical energy because it's spinning, it's moving. Within the center portion, that's a heat exchanger and condenser. So there's hot water in here, or steam, that is delivered to the turbine to spin it. So this one is thermal energy. We see example of thermal energy right here. And the source of the thermal energy came from nuclear energy whenever we broke the bonds between the protons and the neutrons in the nucleus of the uranium atom. Sorry. Next one. This is an example of the sun shining on a plant, the cow eating the food, and then the cow mooing. So we're going to start at the beginning for this one. So the sun gets, originally the sun's energy comes from a nuclear reaction in the center of the sun. It's a fusion reaction where hydrogen is combined to form the element helium. The sunshine reaches the earth, and the plant receives that as electromagnetic energy. So the sun's nuclear energy comes to us through space as electromagnetic energy. The plant uses that to turn that to chemical energy that the cow eats, and then the cow makes a noise, and sound is a mechanical energy. The cow also can move around. It has potential energy, so there's a lot of reasons we could call it mechanical energy. The cow also is warm, so the cow has some thermal energy as well. If we ate the cow, then the cow would exist to us as a form of chemical energy. So it kind of all depends on perspective here. So that's part of what I want you to start seeing as you look through these. There are right and wrong answers here, but there are a multitude of right answers as well, depending upon how you've looked at this. So have fun doing this, and check with me if you have questions.